First, we have to situate this decision in the present context of ticketing. Indeed, ticketing evolved a lot since the past 25 years. Initially, it was mainly a simple affair between a transport operator and a ticketing integrator, with defining tariff flows and dimensioning the equipment, but only that. There were very few evolutions in the systems, sometimes of tariff flows modifications, very costly because everything was proprietary. Nowadays, when implementing or renewing a ticketing system, it's more and more complex. So many questions arise: open loop, closed loop, system-centric, card-centric, open payment, account-based ticketing, QR code, NFC, interoperability, scheme, multi-service. Indeed, transport operators and authorities are really confused and overwhelmed with all these new technologies and new schemes. And furthermore, today, with the emergence of the concept of mobility as a service, the need for ticketing systems to be flexible has never been so great. During the life of the system, you have to implement new low tariff flows, new interoperability scheme, to add open payment maybe, to add mobile ticketing, to add mobile providers, new mobile providers. All this can be only achieved with open standards, because with open standards, you may have a real competition for each component of the system at each moment of the life cycle. And it is particularly true for the technology you use.
Indeed, a lot of those changes comes from a change in the behavior of the travelers. They used to be traveler. Nowadays, they are more consumers because they tend to use travel as any other digital service they're used to today. So, for instance, you search for a place you want to go to in a map, and then you look at where and how you get there. And as you do this journey, you may want to add maybe a booking for a hotel or some other digital services attached to it. And all the benefits of digital services, including ways of payments, open loop or not, comes into play. So the travelers are becoming consumer and they now consume transit. A very different change from what was in the past. And that change is significant enough for PTOs and PTAs so that they cannot address that by their own. It needs to be addressed with the whole ecosystem. That's the purpose of open standards. We want to do this in an environment that allows this to happen, integrating with other players. And the whole purpose of pushing open standards will enable such a transition in a better way. Well, the two associations have long worked at helping PTOs by writing the specifications in an open standard approach. Now what we want to do is do it jointly. And we have the goal to help PTOs and PTAs move away from fragmentation and realize the benefit of open standards, meaning effect of scales for the suppliers, but also interoperability for the benefit of operators. So we're looking at doing that by several things. First, we'd like to jointly educate the market on the benefit of this approach. Secondly, we want to make it a lot simpler for PTOs and PTAs to choose a solution and not have to fight between which standard is the best one. Third, we'd like to make sure that this is done with the support of the ecosystem and all the players, so that we have a real full approach of open standard true to our beliefs. And last, we'd like these to materialize so that we can demonstrate the benefit of open standards, being interoperability, but also scale effects, and cost benefits.
I would add, Philippe, that the guidelines, best practices for an efficient and sustainable ticketing system that we have published indeed really reflect this willingness shared by CNA and OSPT to give to transport operators the keys to really master their system. That's very important, I think, to keep mastering of the system for transport operators.
Agreed.
I am sure that you have a question. Why do they engage this collaboration now? First, we have to look our history, I think. CNA, Calypso Networks Association, has been created at the beginning of the years 2000 by transport operators and authorities which want to promote and develop Calypso worldwide as an open solution. Indeed, operators and authorities need to have a true competition between providers, leading really to a decrease of cost. And proprietary solutions mean increase of cost. And of course, operators want low cost. That's why Calypso was really reflecting straightforward the need of transport operators: security, interoperability, and openness.
As for OSPT, it's been created about a decade ago, but with the same founding principle, fighting against the complexity of proprietary solutions. While CNA was more driven by transport authorities, the OSPT Alliance was more driven by industrial players, however, with the same objectives: strong security, interoperability, openness. Now the two associations have reached a critical mass, and while we existed in tandem for some part and some other part in competition, to stay true to our core values, it makes total sense today to work on converging the two standards.
You are right, Philippe. I think that our principles, our values have aligned during these past years, and that now it was time to engage this convergence for the great benefits of operators and authorities, to simplify their approach of the market and to make them easier to go to open standards without issue to solve. It will be very simple for them to understand the difference between open standards and proprietary solutions. So you have understood that the long term of our cooperation is convergence of our respective standards, Cyprus and Calypso, because this will bring huge benefits to the whole community implied in ticketing, operators and industry. But we also want to bring some benefits as soon as possible. That's why we have defined a roadmap to achieve this.
And it will be a stepped approach. The initial step will be to first understand the strength of each standard. And from there, we will target a roadmap for convergence. Based on that roadmap, then we will have long-term goal, short-term and long-term. For that to materialize, we have decided to create 3 working groups addressing different topics such as governance, but also marketing and communication to educate the market about the benefits. And third is the most important, the technical roadmap, which will initially try to address compatibility issues so that whatever choice you've made in the past is not going to be endangered. But long term, we will work at masking the choices of the standards you may have made through SDKs or even through the secure access module, so that it becomes less important, the choice, but more importantly, interoperability that the solution will provide through the convergence.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you all realize how ambitious this project is and how excited we are about this. It's been in the work for some time. Given the history of the two associations, you can realize that this required a lot of trust that we have gained through this cooperation. Now we would like to invite you to participate and give your inputs, because this will require the entire ecosystem to work properly. And what we'll guarantee is that we will work as much as possible in transparency, so that you are aware of the outcome of this collaboration as much as possible. And should you feel like wanting to discuss with us or your respective association, please feel free to contact us. There are references later in the presentation where you can find the names of the contact persons, and feel free to contact us if you need to.
We are sure with Philippe that this cooperation is very important for the next steps of the ticketing. We know that all operators, authorities, and industry require clear messages and things to be simple, and we participate to this simplification of the approach of the market. We are sure it will bring to operators, authorities, keys and tools to enable powerful, sustainable, cost-effective solutions answering really to their needs. That's why we are very, very motivated to do this together.
Exactly. And furthermore, we'd like to make sure that it's clear that we're not limited into the work that we're doing as to Calypso versus Cyprus only. What we're aiming at is at working at specifying the entire architecture that relates to the ticketing system, so that PTOs, PTAs have a full control of the digital solution at hand, and they are not blocked by any levels. So that's our goal. As we said, it's ambitious, but we think realistic, and we're quite happy about this announcement to you.
Thank you, Philippe, and I really enjoyed to work with you. Thank you.